Relevancy is one of the biggest aspects that anime fans will bat for when it comes to their favorite series. Across different genres and demographics, fans look to remember iconic moments, terms that refer to multiple series in their prime at a very specific time that you just had to be there for, and in between lies the concept of motion. To put it simply, motion is like momentum, and there are a lot of things that contribute to said momentum. From manga sales, collabs, big animation cuts, content creators covering the series, record-breaking acclamation. The more motion a series has, the more you will naturally see it climb to higher conversational heights. Next thing you know, you'll see all types of artists and fan animations contributing to the excitement. MMVs to go even further using the official material as assets. Celebrities chiming into the anime world, major media outlets and sports leagues showing some love because everyone has that one intern that has the key to the social media account and collectively contributes to the overall conversation of series throughout the years to come. Naturally, motion comes and goes as everything comes to an end someday, and in the ashes rises something new when the conditions of right place, formula, adaptation, and time are met. One minute MHA had the world on the edge of their seat, and another, Edgerunners and Arcane had everyone bawling their eyes out. Yet, let's channel our focus to one series for today's video, and from the shonen world, we look towards Jujutsu Kaisen. Ever since fall of 2020, JJK has been on a continuous upward trend in terms of reception around the world. Being one of the very few shonen adaptations to maintain such a high level of quality is not an easy feat given the bar of shonen has significantly risen. And on top of the fact that not all the time can that same bar be met among newcomers, there is also a very small threshold as to what fans are willing to accept for their favorites. Yet time and time again, the series has managed to continue delivering, and with such an immense upgrade from the likes of Goso's vision that was introduced in season 2, every new piece of adapted content has been met with a positive reception a good 99% of the time. For reactors, it's the series to look out for, and the reactions themselves tell a story far better than I can. The level of enthusiasm is priceless, and it remains as a source for invigoration within the anime community. Even with the manga being long over now, the motion of the series remains at an all-time high, especially coming off the insane finale of season 3. Now, over these last 2 seasons, I feel that I've seen a lot of creativity, both from the adaptations and the community behind it that continues to support. Notably, a lot of the contribution online has come from those with artistic ability, and that's what I want to give some love to today. With JJK having plenty of moments that work as a template, there's certainly been a lot of room for people to incorporate their own takes. I have to admit that one thing Gege is incredible at is creating that special moment, typically following the rule of 3 in terms of a trio on screen or creating such memorable confrontations between 2 characters with his narration dialogue. Both avenues are used incredibly within JJK, and to first touch on that, let's go back to Shibuya as we tap into 120% of our full potential. Before we get to the art, I think it's best to talk about what exactly makes these moments and templates work so well. Gege knows how to make an attractive moment by utilizing the strengths of battle shonen, and a lot of time it's his setup working perfectly within the realm of Jujutsu that raises the hype. For this moment in question, Gege follows the rule of 3, which can be described as when a trio of entities such as characters or events are present, they tend to be more satisfying or memorable. And it's a pretty common rule within shonen, given a lot of dynamics talked about within the demographic come from 3. Whether it be Team 7 or Black Clover's top 3, the Hayakawa family, and of course JJK, this is what people come to remember when they look back fondly. Of course, not all the time does the 3 need to be characters on the same side. Sometimes it can come from 2 heroes and 1 antagonist, vice versa, or maybe 3 characters from completely different backgrounds but were fated to arrive at a point of convergence directed by fate. Of course, a huge amount of the heavy lifting comes from the character writing itself. Yuji and Mahito have always had pretty strong confrontations given down to their jujutsu. They are considered natural opposites. A curse who seeks to defile the mortal soul and the boy who perseveres through that hell to maintain that unbreakable spirit gripped people in early on in the series. Though before it could truly become that unbreakable spirit, it had to be taken down a notch, and as the saying goes, you gotta break them down to build them up. First through Junpei, then through Nanami, and Kugisaki being the icing on the cake. A 3-hit combo that may have broken most people way earlier than expected, but unlike Yuji, most people don't have an ally they can lean on that channels delusions to absurdly cool heights. In a world surrounded by such inconceivable horrors, Todo was the support Yuji never thought he would need. Pushing him both in combat and in spirit, I never knew how excited I could be to hear somebody clap just as much as how excited I could be to hear hear somebody snap looking at To Be Hero X. His arrival in Shibuya is the exact type of ingredient you'd welcome to an already chaotic situation. Given just how difficult it is to genuinely counter his technique as the utility it provides can turn the tide, this one-on-one now evolves to the exceptions versus the unredeemable. With their teamwork already being fairly strong back in season 1 and Black Flashes in the mix to really get the flow going, it would only make sense that Mahito would naturally rise to the occasion as well, thus bringing out 120% of everyone's full potential in that moment, for from this point on, the winner truly takes it all. It was already enough that colorings of this moment were plentiful back when it first dropped, but the way the anime brought it to life couldn't be more perfect, and for artists, inspirational. A lot of takes on the moment bring cartoons into the Jujutsu world. We got a SpongeBob version, which honestly, SpongeBob or Patrick could have been Toto, and either would have worked given their equal levels of hysterics. An Adventure Time take, which is really neat, as it wasn't until about 2 years ago that I sat down and watched the entirety of Adventure Time in order, and let me tell you, I was really surprised on just how good and emotional that show ended up being. Even the hater version with antagonists across DC and manga. Folks even animated it with Shade Ronin including the fastest hedgehog we know and crew into the mix. It can be from the kaiju verse to the Uma Musume verse, there are no limits but one's own imagination, and this, in my opinion, is where it truly began for JJK's spree of art, because going forward into season 3, it's an entirely amped up ballgame. We couldn't even go beyond the premiere without getting our next template with Noya Don't Do It To Him. Let me ask you all a simple question. How often can you truly say that you see something so damn disrespectful and hilarious during an action sequence that you find yourself flabbergasted at what you just saw? We see a lot of cool cuts all year long, but when you add a pinch of disrespect into the equation, that is what gets people talking. These types of moments tend to work best in close quarter exchanges where you can clearly see how one-sided a fight is, especially when it's against characters that have been established to be pretty strong. But what makes Jujutsu so consistently engaging is the fact that off rip, you don't know your opponent's curse technique until it comes swinging at you. Even then, understanding it is a different story. Noya's projection sorcery would probably be difficult to grasp for most sorcerers outside of the fact that it significantly enhances his speed. You can end up hit 20 times before you even fully register the first one, and if there is one thing animators love taking advantage of, it's characters with speed. To think that a brief exchange in the manga would not only get an anime original extra few seconds for a beatdown on Choso, but then to make it worse, have Noya fix his hair mid-engagement to showcase just how easy he's taking it. You could hear the disbelief from millions of Choso fans in unison, and I couldn't blame them. This isn't the first time we've seen characters with speed have little quirks in between the moment, but this was just like why? Incoming worst statement I'll probably ever say on this channel, but why did they give the misogynist any ounce of aura? It was such a brief moment, but it's incredible how much impact just a few seconds had on premiere day. Reactors were losing it, and the icing on the cake is that artists and animators had the exact blueprint they needed to run it back. Within the same evening and days after, we had take after take of this moment. All sorts of natural enemies getting drafted, and just look at the compilations right here. JoJo's, Deltarune, Dandadan, the amazing digital circus, Marvel characters, everyone's creativity was on 10 during this week. And I love just seeing where the artists and animators' heads went when you look at how much variety is present. And I really gotta give some praise to the effort here, because alongside the drawings, there's a good amount of these that moved. It doesn't even matter if it was just for a few seconds, we know how difficult it can be to make anything move fluently enough. I'm just saying, though, not to glaze more than I know the series already gets, but you do not see this quite often. Granted, of course, this situation was an original addition to the anime, and obviously it all comes down to the story in question and whether there's room for moments like this. But again, it goes to show that even beyond Gege, there's some people in the staff room that have some pretty amusing ideas as well. While I can't confirm that it was their idea, huge props to Teppei Okuda for being the one who brought it all to life, because they ended up bringing a whole lot more with it. Now obviously, season 3 had a lot of good moments, but nothing could possibly beat the climax of the season with Sendai, but more specifically, the three-way domain expansion. I actually have quite a bit to say about this one, because while it also follows the rule of 3, similar to 120% of full potential, what adds another layer of excitement over it lies in the trump cards being used. You really cannot say that even in the last decade, you've seen multiple trump cards being used that would technically go toe-to-toe with each other. It's not something MHA has, not something Demon Slayer particularly is founded on given the multiple forms per breathing style, and really the closest thing you can get to is Bankai from Bleach, but even then it's not nearly the same. In terms of occurrence, JJK has paced their domain expansions out pretty fairly. We saw it used 4 times in season 1, with the first time being composed of 2 that was more so an introduction, 3 times in season 2, with Sukuna's being the main event while the others were very minimal but effective, and then another 3 times in season 3. However, what makes Sendai more insane is that not only is it the first time a lot of people figured out that Yuta has a domain expansion, but it's being used among 2 other sorcerers, and we had no idea how any of their domains would work. We can go on and on talking about the technicalities, but it's the simple fact that it happened. With another great take by the anime color-wise and art translation-wise into the anime format that had people out of their seat. Of course, with the rule of 3 in motion, there isn't a soul who will forget this moment, and artists for sure went to capitalize on it. Cartoon Network characters, Illumination characters, superheroes, and villains alike. Hell, Komi Can't Communicate being the equivalent of that one polar bear is lost meme. Overwatch, Persona, Uma Musume, Pokemon, Amphibia, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Sonic, Kaiju, strongest Marvel characters in the verse. Which, by the way, the context behind this one was hilarious because somehow when the Fantastic Four trailer came out and everyone started power scaling Franklin, it somehow ended up slandering Wanda and Jean, and my god, the hardcore fans were going at it, and it was a spicy day to be on the internet. The way artists just turn up for JJK templates is insane, and even then, these moments are just some of the more highlighted ones. There are truly all sorts of episodes and chapters you can pull from. You could get the Sukuna x Mickey Mouse domain expansion, which is S tier slander by the way, or even your favorite rappers being tossed into the Gojo vs Sukuna panel. The art just keeps on rolling. Pokemon in the Sukuna vs Jogo moment, or how about the Higuruma and Squidward team up, which I'm not gonna lie, this piece in particular is tough as hell. But as art comes in various forms, there is one more that I just gotta briefly mention. Now, anybody around the era of leaks knows just how insane Shinjuku Showdown was, and through the midst of it all, I watched a nuclear bomb being built in real time. Never in my life have I seen such a masterpiece till the night Potential Man dropped. Big shout out to my pal Kempa for being the one who ended up creating it. I'll never forget just talking in the group chat that evening, and this man was silently just crafting in the background. I've seen a lot of slander over the years. Pretty much every single shonen main character especially has been slandered to some degree. Even the recent slander war with Bakugo vs Riz had artists and animators going into double overtime, but never in my 16 years of being an anime consumer of this medium have I seen something like that before. It has everything a slander meme should have. You got JJK fans attempting to write the story for Gege in the top left, fraud allegations in the bottom left and right, a jab at him so quick to always summon Mahoraga in the top right, but that one sentence at the bottom, that right there is the juicer. If and when, but never is. Can you imagine your entire rep is determined by the word if simply because nothing ever really happened in terms of what the fandom believed was possible for said character? Life will give you a lot of battles, but there is no bigger battle than being a Megumi fan the night this dropped. Definition of fighting a losing battle. And granted, the anime did go crazy with him lately, but I'm telling my anime only Megumi fans now, please enjoy it while it lasts. With JJK fans still not stopping with leaks, it didn't help that the initial leak for the final mention of Megumi in the series had the word if in it, and that was all it took for a pal of mine to drop the slander nuke on him. Granted, of course, the officials was different, but as my era of leaks video stated, this is what you get when you do not walk away from early manga material being dropped. We all saw what MHA went through, and now look at the real result, but it is what it is. JJK has had some really entertaining trends and pieces created over these last few years, and compared to the rest, it's been the most consistent, at least as of late. One day, it will simmer down to a quiet spot, but there will be another series ready to fill that gap. The Kagurabachi fandom has already been going nuts, creating their own version of Aizo based off the series. I don't even read Bachi, but my god, if this isn't dedication to the love of the game, then I don't know what is. One thing for certain though, is that as the AI bubble continues to pop, please make sure to support your artists, folks. I don't care if you like and share a tweet or pay them for a commission. We need each other for this community to thrive. There is a certain level of understanding that only we, the enthusiasts for this medium, can achieve. And as we have always done, let us continue to create. With that, ladies and gentlemen, will bring me to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and please make sure to not only check out all the artists that I was able to link in the description below, but also let me know what your favorite piece of art or meme that has come from the anime community has been as well. Be well out there, until we meet again in the next one.